Happy Facebook Live Wednesday. Today's topic has caused major stress, anxiety, sometimes depression. It leads to video game addiction, just a lot of headaches. And what is that topic? Homework. Every time someone just says homework, right, parents just cringe. They want their kids to do the homework. Kids are like, no, I don't want to do homework. So this is what I found that symbolizes how we feel about homework, or how the kids do. Listen to this.
God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Yes, please, no, 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 no. So who do we have to blame for the existence of homework? I did some research, and believe it or not, an Italian pedagogue, you know what a pedagogue is? A pedagogue is a strict teacher. Back in 1905, let me get his name right, Roberto Novellis created or invented homework as a punishment to students. It wasn't even something to enhance their academic, goals and to give them practice. And it wasn't even a positive invention. So I don't know if you've heard about this, but when some of my students are doing, argumentative essays, and one of them, a hot topic is why some schools are banning homework. So I wanted to research what schools. Finland bans homework. 2 elementary schools in Utah, Connecticut, Louisiana, New York. In 1901, actually, California banned homework for kids below 15. Of course, they lifted that ban, and I wanted to share the pros and cons of homework, because a lot of parents feel that homework must be mandatory, right? Homework must be done, or else grades will suffer, and then all hell will break loose if grades are either failing, or some parents think that B's aren't good enough. And it just opens a whole can of worms regarding what are grades to us and how significant is homework to our daily lives. Well, if you're a student in school, distance learning, believe me, I've been doing tutoring virtually, and homework is a pain. Hey, John, thanks for joining. Please chime in on your opinion on homework. So what are the pros? First of all, like I said, homework can cause, cell phones to be taken away, video games, a lot of, privileges are taken away, but it also creates this tension between parents and their children where, they start getting into very sometimes violent arguments. Doors are slammed, eyes are rolled, and, people don't even want to be in the same room, right? If you have a child who refuses to do homework, and say they're 12 years old, and you just demand homework to be done, and they say, I don't know how to do it. Or you help them, and they say, that's not how the teacher taught us. You don't know what you're doing. I've been told that. As an educator for 27 years, my daughter has told me, you don't know how to do that, Mom. No, you're wrong. I love that. So what are the pros? Number one, giving homework doesn't always improve the academic outcomes, right? Because there's Google, there's cheating, there's, kids do homework for each other, kids borrow homework, kids buy homework, kids cut and paste. Are they really learning, or are they just so stressed out that they will do the homework no matter how they come up with the answers? So I just found out one of the schools had to change their Google Classroom password because they just had like a generic password for all the 6th graders, because the kids were going into other kids' accounts and copying and pasting their homework answers. I've noticed that some of the teachers during distance learning, I don't know if they want to reduce stress, but they're just giving answers. They literally give the homework, and then on the Google slides, answers are given. I'm thinking, what is the purpose of it? Is it just to, remind kids to actually review the homework, and then hopefully they'll comprehend, the retention will be there. Well, will they be burned out? I have kids who are running on 3 hours of sleep because, they are procrastinators. They end up having to do a 5-page paper, having to, find their resources and come up with an essay. They study for an exam. What in there, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I have this essay tomorrow, or I have an exam tomorrow, and you panic. And sometimes I would say ahead of time, but the day before any exam, that panic just sets in, which causes, right, your brain can't function correctly. And then sometimes you just become paralyzed, and then during the actual test, you go blank. You knew the answers before the test, but during that test, or, how's this, your teacher calls on you, and you knew it, but as soon as they call on you, and with distance learning, when they call on you, and you're one of the many squares, but that teacher calls on you, well, all of a sudden, you're in the spotlight, and you go blank. And sometimes the teacher might say a negative criticism. Did you study? Do you know it? We just discussed this. We're paying attention. So shaming comes into play, followed by, feeling incompetent, and then the guilt sets in, right? So why do we have homework? Well, people who are against homework, right? I know coming from schools, my daughter, my oldest, graduated from there, and during Hula, how would you describe that? It's like a Hawaiian carnival event where there's dancing and rides and games and food. Well, during that week, there is no math and no homework. There's other subjects, but they really focus on performance practices and spending time with your family. So during that week, I noticed you don't have homework for a week. To me, you need some kind of practice. You don't need to have an hour of homework, but just something, especially in class. But that's just me. I know kids during their breaks, when we go back into session, they'll forget. And we really have to forgive 2020 because the third and fourth quarter, it was just like, what did I learn? A lot of fifth graders said, I really don't even remember the last thing I learned. So homework is supposed to be a refresher, supposed to give you practice. But when these kids are crying, they're stressed out, they're being yelled at because the parents are telling them, you better do your homework, right? And some kids are asking, well, can you help me? And the parents say, no, I can't help you, but just be resourceful and just do it. Or your phone will be taken away. You look at the grades, wait a minute, you're missing assignments, what's going on? And then your child says, well, my teacher hasn't uploaded the current grades, right? That's always a good excuse. Or I didn't know how to do it. Now with the technical issues, I couldn't access it, I couldn't upload it. There's dozens of reasons. And, it does reduce, right? If you get rid of homework or minimize it, it will reduce the negative impact on our health. Because, when you have stress, adult stress, because you're behind at work or you just feel just overworked and you're burned out, well, picture your 12-year-old feeling that way, right? And then your phone gets taken away because you just either don't see the value of doing homework, right? You know it. Why do I have to do 2 hours of algebra when I don't see the value in it? And believe me, if any of you know what IXL is, I'll just give you a little snippet. It's a online math program, and every time you get a problem right, your points go up, right? And then when you get it wrong, your points go down. And then there's the challenge zone. So when you're up to like 90, if you have one wrong, it'll go down 85, another one 75. Well, someone called in tears because we were up to 92, and her dad was fairly, an expert in math, and she went from 92 to 48. That particular Excel, every problem was worth 10 points. So I made time on a Saturday. We finished it in an hour and a half. But this stresses me out because if you make one little mistake, your points drop. And if you're doing 48, that's not good, right? So I can feel the anxiety, boredom issues, you feel incompetent, you wonder why do you even have to go to school, right? I have fifth graders saying, I think I want to drop out of school. And I ask them when I graduate from high school. I'm not sure. I guess so. And I always remind them, how people go to the gym or they work out their physical muscles. Well, we need to build our brain cells, and sometimes building our brain cells is painful because we do work that we don't want to do. So, but there's a difference between reasonable amount of homework and then ridiculous amount of homework that causes sleepless mates, right? You have, to me, if you have 2 hours of homework for one class and you have other homework to do, and you're 12, you're not in college, and some of these teachers have to do it the next day or have to do it 8 a.m. I had an assignment that I was due at 2:59 p.m. and tutoring started at 2:15. It was a research paper on, I just forgot what it was. We did research on it, and it was, you had to, it was a persuasive essay. So similar to homework, it was on teen smoking. Why should teens not smoke? You have to come up with statistics and your thesis and your topic sentence and your website. And I had 25 minutes to actually help her because we had to go over what she had to do, what our work citations, right? And I felt so stressed, and she said, Miss Karen, I'll just turn it in late. There's no penalty. And all of a sudden, I breathed a sigh of relief. I'm doing homework or helping kids with homework for 27 years, which is why I wanted to end tutoring. But during the pandemic, parents were panicking. Kids wanted one-to-one, even though it was virtual. One-to-one virtual is way better than, I guess, scheduling office hours and working with a teacher who might not explain the concepts, so that you understand how to do your homework. Anyway, I divert, but it's just thinking about it and talking about it creates stress. But if you don't have homework, guess what? Your sleeping patterns will improve. And when you sleep, you won't fall asleep in class. So many of my teen students, and even the elementary ones, they're so tired because they stayed up late doing homework that they fall asleep in class. Or they barely can keep their eyes open, right? And if you keep your eyes open, you can't really concentrate because you're so darn tired. So, should we have homework, right? Unfortunately, I have no power, but parents can. And I have had parents email the teacher saying, you know what, it is intersession. My child is not doing homework during intersession. Or my child is not doing the Hawaii State Assessment packet because they have homework and they are burned out. My child will not do this project because we can't afford materials. I had a teacher at Kapolei provide the materials, and she just said, it is not, I don't have time to do this. And the teachers were okay with it. They were okay with it. Or you modify, right? My child is having so much anxiety and they failed this test. How can she make it up? Actually, this happened to me. 8th grade, she read this book. It was the most boring book on, I don't know what, it took place in the 1600s. It was a cartographer. You know what I can't say it. Cartographers make maps, right? Well, this is one back in the 1600s. I might have gotten the time period wrong. Who invented the map and then, of course, traveled the world based on the map. Well, we wrote notes. Well, I wrote notes. Chelsea read it 3 times, right? It's a pretty big book. Took the test. failed. We had to get at least 7. She failed and got 6 wrong. Then she got 5 wrong. Then she got she had one more right, and she would have passed. And this is the week that my dad died. And, we're visiting him at the hospital, but making sure, and she's like falling asleep, and I'm pounding the bed saying, do you want me to help you? And I'm sure if you're a parent and you've ever helped your child with homework and they're falling asleep or they're not focused, that's a trigger. Because you're like, you know what, I'm willing to help you. Your job is to stay up and comprehend and do the work, right? Staying up is mandatory. So anyway, I told her, talk to the teacher about it. And guess what? This teacher called her in and just verbally had her talk about the book and gave her, I think, an A on that exam. I mean, teachers are willing to modify, but it takes courage to have your teachers, have your students ask. If they say no, it depends on how involved you want to be. But, I've had teachers receive emails from parents, and they are pretty willing. They are willing, especially during the pandemic. I had someone who was missing 60 assignments, and come December, the teacher said, I'll give him the entire winter break to catch up on all the assignments for second quarter. I was blown away. So, what can we do? We can foster better study habits, right? And supposedly doing homework, and to me it's a reasonable amount of homework, will help you, right? Learn independent study skills, accountability, and yes, you learn how to be a responsible adult, because as adults, if you work, you have to be accountable. You have to show up on time, and if you do your work. I've come across kids, I've been doing this for 27 years, who nearly failed school, and they are successful employees. Academics just wasn't their thing. So if you have a student in your home who's not doing homework, who's failing school, it is not indicative of their future success as an adult. It is not. And I always use my husband as an example. Thomas Gittin, sales engineer for Spectrum, barely, I share the story, it's not shaming him, but he barely graduated from Maui High School. Work ethic is just blows my work ethic away, and his confidence and his willingness to just put himself out there, even though he doesn't know anything about it. He will Google, he will research. One example, fixed my AC years ago of my Odyssey, didn't know what to do, saw some YouTube videos, and fixed my AC for $7. That was a definite highlight of the year. The other day, I had to fix my brakes. I mean, he went to Oahu, followed by Mililani, and then Salt Lake, and had to get parts and tools, and I was just so thankful. My daughters are like, no, you're really lucky that Dad was a former mechanic and is willing to really do the work, He put the tarp so that the rain wouldn't fall on him, and then the rain fell and gushed all over his back. But that's a sign of work ethic. Does it have anything to do with academic success? No. So I really admire parents who don't force their kids to go to college. I know so many successful people who either dropped out of college or they just didn't do so well in school. So I think we're putting so much emphasis. But yes, is a college degree valued? It is. Is it necessary for success? No. Not when it endangers your mental health. It causes anxiety. It causes panic attack. It causes kids to escape into the world of video games because they just don't want to do biology or algebra or write an essay or anything academic, right? So what do? It becomes an obsession, right? So they neglect real life because homework, classwork is just unbearable. I tell parents, picture yourself doing taxes every single day and then having homework on taxes and then doing research on taxes, or just if you're an accountant and you love it, this is not a good example, but picture a subject that you cannot stand and you have to do that every single day. So, sorry, I've been talking nonstop for 25 minutes. I'm going to end with a quote from a professor of psychology and neuroscience, okay, from Duke University. He studied homework for 25 years, and he discovered that there's little impact on elementary school kids. In high school and middle school, it did benefit them 1 to 2 hours a night. A lot of your kids have way more than 1 to 2 hours a night. If my tutoring for one student is an hour and a half, it's not enough. You know that after they end tutoring, they have to finish their homework, right? And sometimes even my hour sessions, we don't get to finish homework. And I feel, I feel really guilty because we're paying me to help their kids with homework. And I felt that I should have to help them finish their homework. And then I'm realizing now I can only do so much in an hour. But if your kids are struggling, reach out to teachers, let them know that, this is overwhelming. Can you offer either extra office hours or can you modify it? It's just too much. I have kids, these A students, they will email the teachers. I can't finish my homework. Can I have a couple more days? The teachers say yes. Chelsea, last October, emailed her teacher and said, I'm behind. I couldn't do it. And the teacher said, I'll give you through the weekend. They extended deadlines and they're compassionate. You have the occasional strict teacher who will tell you no. And then you have to ask your student, and you have to ask yourself, is it worth the headache and the mental health stress? Or do you get the occasional F? Is the F going to ruin your life? One F will not ruin your life. I've had, college professors and admins say, you know what? We want to know how students overcome failures. How do they deal with those F's? Well, you never had enough. It's like you won't be able to write about overcoming failure. Encourage students to embrace failure. I encourage students not to homework sometimes because you know what? It is not worth impacting your health. Sometimes you can't sleep. Sometimes you can't eat. Sometimes there's times where it consumes your soul, right? Because you just don't want to do it. And guess what? You know what's going to happen again, again, and again. If you're in 7th grade, and I do this, not to be, a killjoy, I say, you're 12, you're in 7th grade. Okay, so you have 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. They look at me and they go, I tell them, I'm not going to tell you your life is going to be healthy in the next 5 years, but if you're going to go to college, add another 4 years, if you want to be a doctor, an attorney, or, say you need extra training in their field. But the secret is not to make your life about homework. Homework should not rule and control your life. Family is important. Mental health is important. And communicating with the teacher saying, you know what, my child is having a major problem just signing on to distance learning because they are dealing with a lot of stress and they don't want to. You don't have to come up with a reason, they're sick, they're overwhelmed. They just don't want to. And as a parent, I don't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions? Or can you just email the assignments and, find another alternative so that my child doesn't have to log on and watch an hour of videos and lectures? Can you help me out? Because I am losing sleep. I have, you can only, all it takes is one child as a parent, right? You have one child and that child's homework can just become pure hell, right? If you have multiple children, oh my gosh, I don't know how people do it. You have a kid kindergartner, a third grader, you have an 11th grader. It is hard, but I'm letting you know your child's homework is not your responsibility. If your child doesn't finish your homework, let them turn in incomplete assignments. Let them learn natural consequences, and it does not define their value as a student, and it doesn't define your value as a parent. Please message me if you want to talk privately. My goal, you guys, is to reduce parenting stress. And I invite you to reach out. Plug my book, 100 Parenting Tips Inspired by the Pandemic. I don't think the Kindle version is available yet. It should be available in the next few days. Kindle version is only $3.99, right? And I don't do the prices. The Boa Press, the publisher, chose the prices. I showed it. They own it. So I think it's $11.99 for the paperback. And you get 100 tips for $11.99. If you want to buy the book, I recorded all 100 tips on my YouTube channel, Letting Go with Aloha, as well as Instagram, Letting Go with Aloha. So my next mission, because I'm always striving to do more, is creating mama meditations. They're called mama meditations, but John, is for men, it's for aunties, uncles, and grandmas and grandpas, and basically anyone who needs to deal with stress. And I'll end here. Thanks so much, John, for being here. You just stuck it up, and I appreciate it. And I want you guys to wish all the girls in your life a happy Girls' Day. Today is Girls' Day. Do